Hi, today we are doing Lydend in Bedrywende Vorm, active and passive voice. So the normal word order is stompie with the verb second and before the infinitive. With that is Bedrywende Vorm. Let's put this here. So that is Bedrywende Vorm. Bedrywend is just normal. Okay, Lydende Vorm is passive voice. So now what we're doing with Lydende Vorm is we swap the object and the subject around. And then we have to change the verbs, obviously, because we're always changing the verbs. Okay, so here I told you what the verb should be, but let me just write down what, so this is what the word order will look like. I'm just going to show you this. It's basically just a quick summary and that you can learn, and then I'll give you examples. So then we've got the object, because we swapped the object and the subject around. Let's go like this. Okay, so we swapped these two, so now that's the object and that's the subject. Okay, the rest still stays exactly where it is. So what is this? Let's say this was in present tense. Then this verb here is going to become word, and in front of the subject we're going to have deur. And this verb here at the end gets ge in front of it. Okay, so that's present tense. For past tense, okay, so past tense, our past tense sentence normally looks like this. Subject, het, time, object, manner, place. This is ge and a verb and an infinitive. That's what our subject, what it normally looks like in a past tense sentence. So in a past tense, the first verb is usually het. So now what we do, if we do it in passive voice and Lydende Vorm, we swap the object and the subject around. We change the het to a is. Let's go like this rather. I'm gonna just go like that. There we go. We change the het to is. Okay. Then we've got time in front of the subject. We've got word, and the rest stays the same. Okay, so that is past tense. Future tense looks like this. We've got normal, and this verb is sal in future tense. Okay, so that's what a future tense sentence looks like in Bedrywende Vorm. Now we want it Lydende Vorm, so we take that, we swap those two around. Okay, there must be a deur in front of the subject. And now what we do is we keep the sal here and we just add the ge in front of the verb. So you'll see all of these verbs have ge, and then we add a word here as well. Okay, so that's basically what we changed. We swapped the subject and the object. So those two swapped around. We added and we changed the verbs. So here we've got word deur, and the ge. Forget the rest of the sentence. It's whatever. It doesn't make sense. Doesn't make a difference. It doesn't matter what else is standing in the sentence. These are the only things that you focus on. We swapped those. We changed the het to a is. We added a deur. And the verb stays a ge, because it's already a ge, because it's already in past tense. Future, we changed the object and the subject around. We kept the sal where it was. We put deur and ge, and at the end of the sentence we put a woord. Okay, that's the rules of how it works. Now let's do some examples. Okay, I'm gonna do some very basic examples first. So kom and say this is like the one that everyone always uses. So let's stick to it. Die seun skop die bal. I'm sure you've seen that 10,000 times. So die seun is the subject, skop is a verb, bal is an object, and this is in present tense. Okay. So now we've got to swap the object and the subject. So we start with die bal. So that's the object. Then our verb is going to be woord. So that's the verb. Then we don't have time, so we leave that out. Then we've got deur and the subject. Okay, so here we've got deur and subject. And then we need ge in front of the verb. Okay, so that's the sentence structure. So we just followed this pattern that I gave you over here, but you just look at your sentence and see how it works. Okay, so let's do more tricky one. Let's say example 2 somewhere. Sorry, let me just move that so that it's at the top of the page and you don't have to look way here at the bottom. That's better. Okay. You can see everything. Okay. Die kinders eet elke dag nee, kom ons sê roomyse by die kafee. Okay, so die kinders is a subject, eet is a verb, elke dag is time, roomhuis is an object, and by something, so it's place. But as I said, don't worry about the rest. The rest doesn't change, so it just stays where it is. So now we've got die kinders, so we swapped it with the object. So we say roomhuise. That is the object. Okay, so here our rule was the het. Oh, no, we don't have a het. We've got present. So this is still present. So our verb is woord. Then we've got time. And then we've got our deur, the subject. So deur, and our subject is die kinders. And then we've got the rest. So place is by die kafee. Whoopsie. That's place. And then our verb gets a ge, eet. Okay, but remember here there are way too many e's here, so we put a deelteken. The deelteken shows where it breaks. So that is ge in front of the verb. Okay. Now let's do another. Okay, die man sal vanmiddag na die winkel toe gaan om brood te koop. So we've got a subject, we've got a verb, we've got time. Okay, let's just change that. Sal vandag winkel toe gaan. Then that is our object. Gaan is a verb. And here we've got om te. Remember we spoke about that last time. Om te is infinitive. So what tense is this? Our verb here is sal. Let's write it over here. So sal is future. So that means we changing, okay, so we always change the subject and the object. Okay, I need to change the sentence. They won't give you something like this. You don't need to do this. So sorry about that. I'm not going to redo the whole video because I made one mistake. So let's just stick with this thing. Sorry guys. Die man sal vandag brood koop om middagete te maak. Okay, let's do that again. This is the subject, verb, time, object, verb, and om te is infinitive. And because we've got a sal here as the verb is sal, which means this thing is future tense. Okay, so what do? We swap the object and the subject, so we start with brood. We keep sal where it is. Okay, so the brood is the object. Sal stays where it is. Then we've got time, vandag, so the time stays the same. Then we've got deur, the subject, and the subject is die man. So deur and the subject. Then we've got time, man, the place, all that other stuff, which we don't have at the moment. Then we've got ge in front of the verb. So our verb here, we said is koop. So then we use koop, so it becomes gekoop word. Okay, remember I said if in future tense we always added a word. And then comes the infinitive. Om middagete te maak. Okay, so we had our object, sal, time, deur the subject, ge in front of the verb. We added in a word and we kept our infinitive where it was. Right. One more. Okay, let's say ons het verlede week die berg gaan klim om fiks to bly. Okay, we climbed the mountain to stay fit. So we've got ons is the subject, het, verlede week is time, die berg is an object, gaan klim. Okay, let's take that out and say geklim. That's it. That's our verb. En om te is an infinitive. So we've got a het, so it's past. Okay, so what do? We swap the object and the subject. Die berg is our object. Our verb stays het. The het becomes a is. So it stays exactly where it is, it just changes to a is. Die berg is, then we've got time. Verlede week, that's time. Then we've got deur, the subject. So that's the subject. And then we've got ge in front of the verb. And then our infinitive stays at the end. Alright, so I'm just going to read all of those aloud for you. Die seun skop die bal. Die bal word deur die seun geskop. Die kinders eet elke dag roomhuise by die kafee. Roomhuise word elke dag deur die kinders by die kafee geëet. Die man sal vanmiddag brood koop om middagete te maak. Brood sal vandag deur die man gekoop word om middagete te maak. En ons het verlede week die berg geklim om fiks te bly. Die berg is verlede week deur ons geklim om fiks te bly. Goed, they can ask it the other way around as well. So then you just do the opposite. So look at a sentence, if it has a word and a deur in it, then you obviously have to change it. So we literally do the opposite. So let's look at this one here. Now we're just going to do the opposite. We're going to swap the subject and the object back. We take the word out, we take the deur out, and the verb goes back to the beginning. Here the is becomes to a het, and we take out the deur, and the subject and the object changes. Here, the object and the subject changes, we take out the deur, and we take out the word, and there we go, and the ge. So, I'll give you a couple of, I'll send you a sheet with some exercises to do, but just remember you're doing the opposite. So everything that you added, you have to now take away. And everything you have moved, you have to move back. Right, that's it for today.